Hey, welcome to Think Thursday from the Alcohol Minimalist Podcast. Think Thursday is all about your beautiful, brilliant human brain. We're talking neuroscience. We're talking behavior change. We are talking about your mindset. Are you ready to get started? Let's go. Well, hello and welcome to Think Thursday from the Alcohol Minimalist. I'm your host, Molly Watts, and today we are diving into a subject that never ceases to amaze me, and that is your beautiful, brilliant human brain. You hear me describe it that way all the time on the podcast because really it is just that amazing and that beautiful, and everyone's is that brilliant too. We've talked about neuroplasticity before many times on this podcast, on Think Thursday, on the regular Alcohol Minimalist podcast. It's the brain's ability to change itself. But today, I want to take a slightly different approach to talking about that. We're going to explore some of the incredible things that we've learned about the brain through modern science, share a couple of stories from Norman Doidge's groundbreaking book, The Brain That Changes Itself, and reflect on how much there is still to uncover about this extraordinary organ. This episode is about wonder, hope, and curiosity, and it is the perfect recipe for appreciating that complex masterpiece inside your skull. Let's start with a quick overview of what modern science has revealed about the brain, especially in the last few decades. Did you know that as recently as the 20th century, scientists believed that the adult brain was essentially fixed? They thought that once we reached adulthood, our brains stopped developing, that neurons couldn't regenerate, and that the brain and that brain damage, if it occurred, would be permanent. And this rigid view dominated neuroscience for much of the 1900s. Then research started to challenge these assumptions. Scientists discovered that the brain could rewire itself, even in adulthood. For example, studies in the 1990s, so we're just talking the 1990s, found that the hippocampus, a region that is critical for memory, could generate new neurons in adults. Even more astonishing is the brain's ability to compensate for injuries. When one part of the brain is damaged, other areas often can adapt and take over its functions, which is really kind of incredible. It's like your brain has this internal backup plan, constantly working to find solutions that keep you functioning. And here's the thing, we are only scratching the surface of what the brain can do. Every year, new discoveries expand our understanding, and they reveal just how flexible, resilient, beautiful, brilliant, and creative our brains are. One of my favorite stories from The Brain That Changes Itself illustrates the brain's incredible capacity for recovery and adaptation. This story is about Cheryl Schiltz, a woman who lost her sense of balance after taking an antibiotic that damaged her vestibular system, the inner ear mechanism that basically helps us stay upright. Cheryl described the experience as feeling like she was perpetually falling, unable to walk or even stand without assistance. And doctors told her there was no cure. Her condition was permanent. But Cheryl's story didn't end there. She began working with neuroscientist Dr. Paul Bach-Wyrita, who believed in the brain's ability to adapt. In fact, he's often been called kind of the godfather of neuroplasticity. Dr. Bach-Wyrita developed a device that used a small pad placed on Cheryl's tongue to send balance signals to her brain. And at first, the device worked only while she was wearing it. But over time, Cheryl's brain began to reorganize itself, building new pathways to compensate for the damaged vestibular system. Eventually, Cheryl no longer needed the device to balance, and her brain had learned to process the balance signals independently. And this story is a testament to not only the brain's resilience, but it shows how even when something as fundamental as balance is disrupted, the brain can find a way to adapt and heal. Another remarkable story from Doidge's book highlights the brain's capacity to heal from chronic pain. Dr. Michael Moskowitz was a chronic pain specialist who found himself trapped in relentless, debilitating pain after an injury. And of course, he knew from his work that chronic pain wasn't just about the body, it was about the brain interpreting signals as pain, even long after the injury had healed. And using his knowledge of neuroscience, Dr. Moskowitz visualized the pain pathways in his brain and focused on imagining them shrinking and weakening every time he experienced pain. Yes, talk about using your brain. It wasn't an easy process. It took time and very deliberate effort, but slowly, again, his brain began to rewire itself. The pain signals diminished, and eventually the pain disappeared entirely. These stories about the brain remind us that the brain is not just a passive recipient of experience, it's an active participant in shaping it. And that is so incredibly important, so incredibly powerful, and so incredibly inspiring, I hope, for all of us. What excites me most about brain research is how much we still don't know. The brain is often compared to the universe, vast, mysterious, and only partially mapped. One of the areas where science is making exciting progress is understanding how the brain processes emotions and thoughts. For instance, researchers are studying how meditation changes brain structures and enhances emotional regulation. Did you know that experienced meditators have more gray matter in regions associated with attention and memory? Now, if that doesn't encourage you to try meditation, I don't know what else might, but you can literally change the shape of your brain, change and add to your gray matter, which is incredibly important. Another fascinating field in brain is brain computer interfaces. This is, talk high tech, talk the future. Scientists are exploring how technology can be used to help people gain or regain abilities that are lost due to injury or illness. Imagine a world where a stroke survivor can control a robotic arm with their thoughts, or where paralyzed individuals can walk again thanks to brain controlled exoskeletons. Those days are coming. They are absolutely coming. And then there's the question of consciousness itself. How does the brain create the experience of self? How do billions of neurons firing in synchrony give rise to our thoughts, our dreams, and our sense of identity? These are the questions that keep neuroscientists awake at night. Sometimes they keep me awake at night, and for good reason. Even though I'm not a neuroscientist studying it all, I am absolutely fascinated by the brain. As we marvel at what we know and what we're still learning, I think it's important to take a moment to appreciate the brains that we already have. Your brain is working tirelessly every second of your life, processing information, solving problems, and keeping you alive. And here's the thing. Your brain is not just a scientific marvel. It is also deeply personal. It holds your memories, your dreams, your quirks, your passions, and it's the seat of everything that makes you you. So, whether you're learning something new, tackling a challenge, or simply taking a moment to reflect on all you've overcome, know this: your brain is capable of incredible things. So that's all for today's Think Thursday episode. I hope you're having a wonderful holiday season. I hope this exploration of your beautiful, brilliant human brain has left you feeling inspired and full of curiosity. And if you want to dive deeper into these areas, I highly recommend picking up a copy of Norman Doidge's The Brain That Changes Itself. It's a book that will leave you in awe of what your brain can do. Until next time, keep wondering, keep learning, and keep appreciating the beautiful, brilliant human brain that powers your life. I'll see you on Monday. Choose peace.